Welcome to another episode of Peralta Matters. I am your host, Jay Calhoun. This episode, we'll be talking outreach here at the Peralta Colleges. So, sit back, relax, and let's get into what matters here at Peralta.
I'm Congresswoman Barbara Lee. Join me in watching Peralta TV.
I'm an ESL instructor at Laney College. Like your future.
Welcome back to Peralta Matters. We are now joined by Kristen Kayser, Outreach Specialist at Laney College. Welcome to the show, Kristen.
Thank you.
So before we get into outreach specializing at Laney College, let's talk about Christine, the BCC college student.
All right.
How was that? What was that about? How long ago you been there?
Well, I started at BCC back in the day,
Okay.
2007. I went to Albany High School.
Outstanding.
And the reason I chose BCC was because my mom, she didn't want us to move. She didn't want my sister and I to go anywhere else. We come from my mom's an immigrant from Peru.
Okay.
And she wanted our family to be close.
Right on.
So she said, you can't go anywhere else, go to BCC. At the time, I didn't know much about BCC,
Okay.
but it was the best option. So
Right.
I decided to go there. And while I was there, I was the only student from my high school that decided to go there.
Okay.
So it was a little bit scary. I felt isolated. I felt a little bit like, why couldn't I go to a UC or any kind of four-year school? But looking back on my experience, BCC really changed my life. And so while I was there, I was able to really grow as a person and become the person I am today. And I really do thank BCC for that.
Right
While
on.
I was there, I was a student ambassador.
Excellent.
I was able to get an internship with Nancy Skinner, assembly member.
Right on.
I was just able to grow as a leader. And there were people there that gave me a chance and who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And so after 3 years there, I was able to transfer to UC Berkeley.
Okay.
And I finally graduated on Saturday.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. It took me 9 years.
That's all right.
But BCC was the nest. So I really do appreciate the Peralta system because I know what it can do for someone like me.
I was just going to go into that to speak on what, as a Peralta system as a whole, because clearly, you know, you're on the other side of the fence now. What do you think, or what is it, what's the importance to students coming in right now that you're on this side of the table? What do you see as the important thing that we need to get across to these students coming in?
I really think that, especially as my job as an outreach specialist, is to demystify what community college is really about.
Right on.
When I go out to these schools, I really try to focus on that community college is real college. It's
Right.
not just for people that...
Not 13th grade, it's real college.
Exactly.
Right,
It's
right.
for people that, you know, might not know what they're doing, that want a second chance, but it's not just about transferring. You can get certificates, you can get degrees. It's for older adults,
Right,
everybody.
right.
And I feel like with the current state of affairs right now, it's really one of the best options. And so when I go to these high schools and see students that were in the same position that I was in,
Right.
coming from first generation college student, first
Right.
generation Americans,
Right.
people that really don't believe in themselves, my job, I feel like, it's not even a job, but my mission is to really inspire people to see something in themselves.
Right.
And, you know, I have experiences where I really just try to be honest with them and show them what I went through. And it wasn't easy,
Right.
but I feel like when I talk about Peralta, I really just have good things that I remember from it. And I remember going into BCC, feeling lost and alone, but having that support.
Right.
And so when these students hear me speaking about it, hear me speaking about, you know, my mom went back to school when I was 13.
Right on.
And I was not going to go to college. So I saw her do it, and she went the community college route also. And so I saw her pathway. We were navigating the United States, navigating the community college system.
Wow.
And when I tell these students that someone like me, I never thought I'd be able to go to school. It was not really reserved for someone like me.
Right, right.
Low
right,
income.
Right, right.
We didn't know what we were doing. And I have experiences where students come up to me after I present to them crying,
Hmm.
saying things like, the fact that you're telling me that community college really is an option, I don't feel embarrassed anymore. I don't
Right
feel
on.
afraid.
Right on.
And so for me, I really want to change the face of what
Yes.
community college is about.
Yes.
So I feel like I don't only do outreach when I'm here at work.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, 365 thing for me. I
Right.
will go to the store, I see someone, I'm like, interested in
Right,
community
you wanna go to college?
Peralta's here for you.
Right on.
So I have, I just really feel like I'm spreading the gospel of
Yeah,
Peralta
right
everywhere
on.
I go.
Well, we appreciate
And,
it.
Yeah, and I'm excited about it because I truly believe in the system.
Good.
So
Real quick, I think it's important that people hear your story or your position. Former student, understanding the plights, know what it means to be actually in the trenches of going to class and working and living and maintaining.
yeah.
How do you inspire that high school student who was on that fence?
Well, I feel like when I go to present to them, sometimes I don't want to go super deep,
Right.
but sometimes I feel like it's important to touch on real life
There we go.
and reaching out to them as people. They're not just numbers, and I want them to know that they all matter. And so when I go out to the schools, I let them know. I went to 3 different high schools. We moved around a lot.
Right.
I came from a single-parent household.
Right.
My mom worked 3 jobs when I was growing up. My brother dropped out of high school when he was 16, and he was involved in a different type of lifestyle. And I saw what my mom was going through, raising all of us. And I told myself, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I will try to do something positive. It's not gonna be college, but we'll see. So I just let them know that when my mom went back to school, I didn't know what she was doing, but she got into UC Berkeley. So that's
Right
when we
on.
moved over here.
Right on.
And on the first day of class for her, she took my sister and I with her. And I didn't know
Right,
why.
right.
We went to class with her, and I was upset. I was like, why am I here? I want to go do kid things, you
Right,
know?
right.
And now that I can look back on that experience, I truly appreciate it because I was able to visualize myself
There we go.
there.
Right on.
And so for me, when I tell them that my mom went back, I went the community college pathway, and although it took me 9 years, I went through, life happened to me. It was not easy. I was at BCC for 3 years, got into Cal, and then I had a bunch of ups and downs, and I had to leave Cal because of financial issues. They told me, you can't come back until you pay us. So I had to take a gap. And when these students actually hear about the things that happened to me
Right.
and other deeper things that happened as well, I just went on the wrong path. And I had to actually went back to BCC to just visit sometimes, and those people re-inspired me.
Right on.
And I feel like having that experience and realizing that BCC was always going to be there for me, even when I felt like I was a failure, even when I was told to leave Cal, it showed me that those were where my roots were,
Right.
and I was somebody.
Right.
And so when I also tell them, that I went through the journey, and my mom actually graduated on Saturday as well.
Oh, my goodness.
So we walked together,
Right.
and then they all start cheering and clapping,
Right,
but they
right.
see it, they can visualize it, like your mom did it, you did it. And so I feel like it's really important as an outreach person to be honest, to let them know that it might not be easy, but we have support here for you.
Right,
Whether
right.
it's EOPS,
Right.
campus life, student government,
Right,
student
right.
ambassador program,
Right.
AC Transit, whatever it is,
We got it.
we have some support for you. And I think what's important as well is I'm kind of the link that bridges them between high school to here. And if they have a question, I don't just spread the message and leave. I have to make sure that if they have any questions, here's my information. I'll get
Right.
you in touch with the right person. If I
Right.
don't know the answer, I'm going to make sure that you actually find somebody who will help you.
Right
If they
on.
don't help you, I'll find somebody else.
Right on.
Because it's not about getting them in. It's making sure that they enroll, persist, and succeed and achieve their goals, essentially. So
Well said and well put.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christine, for coming on the show.
thank you so much.
All right. We'll be right back with more Peralta Matters.
Hi, I'm Katherine Nichols, Academic Counselor at Berkeley City College. Like your future at the Peralta Community College District.
Welcome back to Peralta Matters. We are now joined by BCC Director of Student Services, Andre Singleton. Andre, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you very much.
Right on. At BCC, you clearly have a little bit of a smaller environment to work under.
Oh, yeah.
Which means I'm sure if anything goes down with student services or activities, they're going to come directly to you. There's
straight to me.
No buffer, huh? There's no.
There's a door or two, but yeah, they come straight to me.
In that position, man, what do you feel is your greatest asset to these students?
Just to be there for support services, being the liaison for the Associated Student Government, the student clubs, the ambassadors, outreach and retention support. Ombuds, everything. Everything. So being able to have them have confidence in an administrator that they see.
Yes.
And they say, yeah, if I ask Andre about this, I can get it done.
Right.
And he'll get it done.
Right.
And he'll work with me to get it done.
Right.
And so I feel like that's my greatest contribution to these students at my time at BCC.
Right. We talked a little bit earlier, you were saying how, you have to wear the hat from administrator to buddy. How do you do that without crossing the lines?
Training. So honestly, it's difficult. It's a more of a professional relationship.
Right.
Inside those four walls, it's my job. I know that.
Right on.
I don't take anything personal. Nothing comes between anything like that. So I'm able to say, giving that mentorship, finding students that, maybe just look a little lost. Say, hey, join a club, ambassador program. Keeping them informed on what resources that we have at BCC enabled me to be that buddy and then administrator when I need to be.
Right.
But I try not to let everyone know I'm an administrator.
Okay.
So I can hide. But it's also it definitely supports it's part of retention. It's about in-reach. Right. So when we talk about being able to do something or be a part of a student club or build community, because like you said, it's a unique building.
Yeah.
We are a campus in one building. We've got 6 floors.
Right.
So it's challenging, but at the same time, it feels like a family.
It's everything right there. Yeah.
Yep.
It's always kind of a overreaching theme or an understanding from an outreach perspective on how you need to put some, I guess, big presentation together to get these students. We need to do something. We need a big shock and awe. We need to do something to get them to enroll. When in essence, it's really just allowing them some options and showing them the possibilities.
Exactly.
How do you find the strategic moments or positions to show them these things?
So I started out as a recruitment outreach specialist.
Okay.
And so I was the dog and pony show.
Right.
I was living out of a little suitcase, Marriott rewards, all that good stuff. So I do understand the fact that we do have to put out that big show.
Correct.
You got to have it.
Right.
Just so people know who you are.
Hook and sink. We got to hook them.
Exactly.
Right.
So when the students do come to the campus, you want to make sure that you continue those services.
Correct.
And you also have a somewhat of a welcome week. So every day something's going on. Student clubs are always active. Student government's always there. That's the most important part to keep them going and keep them engaged.
Okay.
Because, when I was in high school, I didn't listen to anybody. I went to school and just like headphones, walking straight, go to class, go back, see my friends.
Right.
So how do you change that for the student who's attending, especially community college, because it's commuter. Everyone does do the headphones thing, straight to the class and straight out.
Right.
So how do you grab their attention and let them know what's going on campus?
Right. What do you think is the, I wouldn't say main component, but definitely an important component to effective outreach?
Ooh, that's a good question. So effective outreach is always building rapport.
Okay.
Building relationships.
Okay.
I know that BCC and Peralta does an amazing job within the Bay Area of going to certain unified school districts, talking to those counselors, maybe having a breakfast for the counselors. And it's always about the parents too, because when I was doing my recruitment outreach, I'd just move over, kid. I want to talk to your parent. Let me go talk to mom.
We'll talk. Yeah.
And so mom would be the one saying, "Oh, have you thought about BCC? Boy, if you don't go to BCC." And so that's kind of been the essence of recruitment. It's always, it is getting out there, it is being out there, but it's also connecting to the deeper community. And trying to hit the generation before the student.
Hell that, yeah. Now that you're on the ground running.
Oh yeah.
What did you say? What would you say to a student coming in on the fence, not sure about whether I should stay in BCC or not?
I would. Community college, BCC, it's a great opportunity. It's the opportunity to test the waters. I don't know if I'm going to put a BCC plug or anything, but we do have concurrent enrollment to UC Berkeley.
Right.
Sorry for the plug.
No problem.
But that you can test it out and say, is this really for me?
Right.
Because when I went through my schooling, my undergrad was huge and my master's was small.
Huh.
And so I like the small class sizes where I could kind of be a part of a little community. But when you go to biology in undergrad and it's like 200, 300 people in your classroom, that may not be for you. So why don't you get everything done and out of the way in your community college? You know, save a little bit of money before you go into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Appreciate the work you do, Andre.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Take care.
Right on. We'll be right back with more Peralta Matters.
Like your future at the Peralta Colleges.
Welcome back to Peralta Matters. We are now joined by Caitlin Fischer, COA Outreach Specialist. Welcome to the show, Caitlin.
Thank you.
My
Glad
pleasure.
to be here.
My pleasure. Talk about your 13 years in the Peralta system.
Where should I start?
Oh, you know, at the beginning.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, I am a proud product of California's public schools, all the way from K-12 and beyond.
Outstanding.
I am an East Bay Area native, and so Peralta has always been right in my backyard and solid in my life.
Excellent.
I took classes at Laney as a high school student, and my entire professional career actually has been in Peralta Community College District. So I've worn a lot of hats. I've gone from instructional assistant to curriculum developer, to faculty diversity intern, to faculty. I worked my way through grad school the first time while I was working at Peralta. And so I've really seen the system from the classroom, and I've worked with students at a lot of different points in their journeys.
Right on. What is Caitlin's approach to outreach?
My approach to outreach can really be expressed as a partnership model.
Okay.
And I take that very seriously.
Okay.
So what I mean by that is that, you know, it takes a village to get anything done.
Truly.
It takes a village to get anything done in Peralta Community College District.
Truly.
It takes a village to get anything done in Oakland Unified. It takes a village to get anything done in Berkeley Unified, and so on and so forth. You know, anywhere that people come together, it's all about teamwork. And so to ignore that or to forget about it isn't really going to serve our students well. And so what I see outreach as an opportunity to do is to build and fortify community bonds and relationships that will serve potential students, that will serve all of us. The stronger this institution is, the stronger the opportunities of our communities are. And so my approach to outreach is to be present, to show up, to build relationships at every level. And that means that you have to take a broad approach. You know, you have to have a bird's eye view. At the same time, you have to really care about and know how to build a personal connection, and it has to be authentic. All of that has to be kind of all pistons firing at the same time. If you can do that, if you can keep that infrastructure steady behind you, then you've got it going. And so, you know, I thrive on the challenge of trying to make sure that all of that is in place, and that we don't want to leave anyone behind. You know, I don't want to be left behind. I don't want anyone to be left behind. And so I want our institution, Peralta Community College District, to be a leader. I want us to facilitate empowerment, and that is my goal, and that is how I approach outreach.
I love it. Talk a little bit about, since you've been here and seen it, not that there is a difference because it's all Peralta, but clearly as an approach to the students you're getting, COA to Berkeley to Laney, how do you think, or how would you see outreach being a little varied or different in the communities?
That's an excellent question.
Right on.
So, you know, overall, I think part of the strength of Peralta Community College District is that we do have all these different, you could think of them as different homes, different home bases.
Right.
It's a really big selling point, you know, when you're out in the community, is you start talking and people say, oh, but if I did that major at your school, like I would be at Alameda, but I could still go to Laney sometimes, right? And the fact that I can say absolutely and know that that is absolutely true, you know, is excellent. I think it helps build the educational experience of our students. That said, you know, we have a challenge because we're all very close together. Some of us are less than a mile apart. And we have overlap in terms of our feeder neighborhoods. And so in my experience, you know, I've had significant experience at Berkeley City College and at College of Alameda, some experience with Laney. In my experience, there's a pretty high overlap in terms of our student population. And I believe that the most effective outreach respects that and doesn't attempt to capitalize on any kind of perceived differences or, you know, I don't think that that's sustainable.
That's the Peralta way. I love it. Thanks, Caitlin, for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
Continue good work.
All right. You as well.
We'll be right back with more Peralta Matters.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 8.
Hey, I'm Charity Clay, Dr. Clay. I teach sociology at Merritt College, and I'm encouraging everybody to enroll in a class and like your future at the Peralta Colleges.
Welcome back to Peralta Matters. We are now joined by Maria Spencer, Merritt College Outreach Specialist. Welcome to the show, Maria.
Nice to meet you.
Before we even get into outreach specialists at Merritt College, let's talk about, what you say, AA to BA to MA to now doctorate. Talk a little bit about your trajectory here.
Wow. I think it starts because, you know, growing up in Oakland, you know, you don't always have that opportunity, you know, early on right out of high school to go right to college, you know, raising a family and thinking about what kind of career you want to be, because no one back then in the 60s and 70s talked about career. It was all about, when you finish high school, get a job, pay the bills. So more or less, you know, it got to a point where I had wonderful jobs in the Bay Area. I worked at some of the best nonprofit organizations that you can think of, even working on special projects like working under Mayor Willie Brown, for instance, you know, handling his children's service plan was one of my projects. And so, you know, I got to the point where, you know, I hit a dead end where, you know, I tapped out of like how far you can go up the you know, the food chain in terms of, you know, making a good salary. And so I said, I've got to go back to school. You know, I had to exhaust everything. I had to exhaust all of my unemployment. I had to become dirt poor before you can even qualify for financial aid. And so when I did, it was like, okay, there's no turning back. I'm going to get this AA done at the ripe old age of 48. Finished the AA. Didn't think I was going to do it, but I was like, what you call an imposter syndrome. I had this imposter syndrome. So I stepped into getting accepted to UC Davis. Did a degree, a bachelor's of sociology and behavioral sciences, and then a minor in Native American studies. And then graduation came. Couldn't find the freaking job, It was not a good deal for me. So what did I do? I had to go back to Peralta.
That's right.
Absolutely. And I did. At the same time, I was commuting on an Amtrak train from Sacramento. I hadn't moved back to the Bay Area yet. I was writing, studying my master's in psychology and mediation and conflict resolution. And I landed a job here back because started out as a student ambassador under Berkeley City College. I was appointed by Dr. Wise Allen, who was my mentor, and assisted me through the process. I also had a second mentor, which was Victor Flint, who kind of oversaw me, and there was one other person at Berkeley City who was the vice president at the time, was Dr. Mario Rivas. And so we had a small group that directed us. So finished that, came back, and then had an opportunity to work for Laney for a brief time, handling student disputes and complaints. Because after all, that was my interest, handling student disputes and complaints. Getting students to the track of, you know, the higher education track. So I think that was my biggest focus, was looking at attending all these Oakland public schools myself, because I graduated from Oakland Tech, went to Westlake Junior High, and finished up there, and so didn't look back. You know, you go through one door and shut it and never go
that's
through.
How it goes.
Go back, you don't go back, So then it got to a point where I oversaw a financial aid department for a brief time over in Merritt College and realized that wasn't my calling card, which is fine. You know, that's just part of the learning curve, and I think it's important for you to learn and go and you know, build relationships. And so now I'm the point person for the Welcome Center, oversee their recruitment and outreach and collaborative building. And I love that part while I'm in my doctorate program. So I finished my 2 years of coursework, and I'm writing a dissertation. I have a lovely editor, you know, Caitlin. And Caitlin Fischer, she's my back, you know, she's got my back in this experience. And so I just see myself as using everything I have so that I can benefit other students to follow my footsteps. Because I think it's real critical with my dissertation, you know, focusing on student success and the Triple SP program, and it's just aligning perfectly. And I just think that reaching out to them is going to be a different effect. We can't approach them the way we used to approach outreach. You know, so we have to go on their turf. You know, the month of March was like my busiest month of outreach, and I must have hit like 20 high schools, continuation schools. I even went into juvenile hall and did some research, not research there, but just communication with students in there.
Letting them know that there's an option
absolutely.
To get out.
I went as far as Contra Costa, Richmond, San Leandro, you know, all the areas that normally do not get tapped into. And even more importantly is these private schools. I didn't realize that some of the private schools had challenging students that didn't actually have financial means.
And so, on to 4 year.
Correct. And so by building that relationship now, it allows us to look at them as well as potential prospective students that can come to Peralta. Because after all, you know, Peralta offers 4 campuses. And I actually tapped into 4 campuses when I went to school here.
70% of our students do that.
You have to cross-utilize the campus. I don't see any way out. If you want to get in and out by 2 years, you have to take advantage of those opportunities. So I've enjoyed this process. I don't know where it's going to take me in the future. You know, of course, you know, we're getting old and we have to you know, think about what we want to do later on. But I'm thinking teaching is in my hindsight.
I think so.
And so we never know.
Thank you so much, Mira, for being an example and for doing what you do.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Wonderful.
Outstanding. We'll be right back with more Peralta Matters. Welcome back to Peralta Matters. I want to thank all our guests for coming on the show. And for all of you out there who need to know, enroll now at peralta.edu. Until the next episode, please do something that matters.
Peralta TV, programs that matter.